Good evening, everyone. Me and my team will be presenting the new business idea that's going to disrupt the horological industry. Starting off with the agenda. Next slide, please. We'll be meeting the team, then we'll be talking about authentication of the watches, how it works, concept of the horological register, market, its strengths, finally moving on to technology, and finishing off with the monetization of the business idea. Next slide, please. So there are three of us who worked on the project all together in developing the business idea, starting from the very scratch. Uh, the members are Ian Anderson, James Lee, and myself, Vishesh Akshat Pathak. Next slide, please. When we talk about the authentication of the watches, it's pretty hard for an individual to differentiate between a real timepiece and a fraudulent one. With the technological advancement throughout the globe, high quality fake watches have been produced for a very long time, and it's very hard for an individual to differentiate between those two. In order to provide a peace of mind to an individual who's purchasing the watches, any kind of platform that gives them a basic idea if they're purchasing a used watch, which gives them a peace of mind that the watch they're purchasing is real, would be beneficial, and we can monetize on that. So if we talk about the theft in the watch industry in 2019 itself, about $101 million worth of watches were stolen in the US itself. Speaking of our very good neighbor, that is the United Kingdom, about $2.8 million worth of watches were stolen. And about 20% of the luxury watches sold in the market are coming from the gray market. And we don't have any idea if they're stolen or not. If the watch is stolen, you cannot insure it, and a stolen good is definitely not something that that an individual would want to keep in the jewelry pieces. Next slide, please. So the concept of horological register basically surmounts around the authentication of the watches, the history of the watch, and to ensure the fact that it's not stolen. A lot of individuals spend thousands and millions of dollars on watches, and they need to have a peace of mind that the watch that they're purchasing is from an authenticated location, and the watch is most certainly not stolen. Hence, this business idea came into fruition by the three of us. Next slide, please. And now my colleague is going to take over.
All right, so basically the users of this service would be watch traders and insurance companies because they value where their watch is coming from in the first place. It's a very expensive piece of it's very expensive, and they need to know that it's accurately accounted for. And there's also a lack of free centralized databases, so it's not very easy to find this information currently. And also there is a pretty big market size for um, luxury watches at almost 40 billion. So we know that this type of technology will be useful because many people want to be able to verify um, their commodities. And it's also expected to grow at a pretty constant rate over the next decade. Next slide, please. So we have priced our registry at 200 a year for personal use and 1,000 a year for commercial use. And commercial usage has a higher cost because validating information on the blockchain is very expensive and requires vast amounts of energy. So the more records that are logged and searched for on the blockchain, the higher the computing costs are to achieve these results. And in the end, we feel people will pay this amount of money because luxury watch owners want to know they're getting an authentic product and that it was not stolen. So if they're already spending thousands of dollars on this product, then they can use our product to verify the watch's history and the insurance's history as well. Next slide, please. So currently the luxury goods market is valued just shy of 350 billion. About 21% of that is watches and jewelry. So it is pretty big market, and currently right now, most of the registries are registered by hand. So by bringing this idea to the blockchain, we are going to innovate this pretty exceptionally and allow it to grow and become more effective. Now I'm going to hand this off to my colleague, James.
All right, so this is our basic database and AWS blockchain infrastructure. Our application data, which are our transaction data, will be fed into our Amazon Quantum Ledger database, where that information will be appended to our blockchain, and each blockchain change will be cryptographically verified. And that information would then be accessible to any users. So for our startup cost, the Amazon managed blockchain that we use has a monthly cost of $907. Running it for a year would give us $10,884. And our proven database has a monthly cost of $150. And running it for 12 months will cost around $1,800, which totals us to $12,684 for our operation costs. And that's it. That concludes our presentation. Thank you for listening.